It is now the time we all anticipate weekly. We just go, God, isn't it time? When is a new episode going to drop? Come on! I can't stand the wait. Where is Starstruck? Where is it? I keep hitting refresh. It's still not there. I need my fix of Mike Morris. Well, no more waiting because here he is, the superstar, Mike Morris.
My God, one of your best ones ever. That was I got to tell you something too, and I'm along with you with everything you said about me. I can't wait for me either. I'd never drop an opportunity to hear myself talk. Common used to say that all the time. Well, he'd never pass on a chance to talk about himself.
No, you have to.
Yeah. You have to. Well, God, yeah, you're right. Very good. Well said. No, it's going to be a long time waiting for someone else to do it, so I may as well. So anyway, welcome back to another Star Power. Wow, the old show. Wow, the Starstruck podcast. And so on we go. I don't have a guest, so we're not putting windows out. We're not shooting arrows into people's homes. We're just going to talk the talk today. Little Vikings football, international style. You're like, wow, this is really cool. We're going to get 2 games now overseas where we can't go and watch our team because they're overseas, or we can pay.
And you got to get up at 8:30 in the morning
to watch it. To watch it.
Come on, that's
on a pay-per-view.
That's a tough pregame.
Yeah, it is.
That is a tough.
It is
pregame.
Yeah, you get up, wake up call. Hopefully, you'll have some breakfast, really early breakfast, or they call it the game table, the table where you go down and it's pregame meal and have a bunch of carbs and watch your Viking game. It's going to be fun. In Dublin, Ireland, then in London, of all places. When are they going to play a game in like Norway?
It's coming.
Yeah, it has to. Doesn't it have?
If they can get 60,000 blokes to show up somewhere, they'll go.
Oh, anything for a check, a big fat check on TV, and we'll keep the team over here for another month or so. We'll just weather it out. You got we'll do Frankfurt, we'll do Tokyo, we'll do Dusseldorf, and then we'll do, Berlin and wherever you guys want us to show up, and then we'll do like that
Red
game.
Square.
Yeah,
we can play there.
Yeah,
Tiananmen Square. Let's go.
Bring the tank.
Yeah.
Who cares? We'll run right over the tank.
Yes. Will it take 100 Vikings to take out a tank?
Oh, we'll find out. Because we're going.
Forget the gorilla. Let's go against the tank.
Yeah, well, let's just go against put the real hardware out there. So anyway, we're going to do 2 games. We're going to get 2 games done overseas now, back-to-back games. Away games, or are they a little bit neutral? Good point brought up by the crack staff in Starstruck. Preparation mode. It was brought up. The point was brought up. It's not really an away game. It's on a neutral site. It's on a neutral country.
That's true.
2 countries.
No, we're not in Switzerland, so I think they're on one side or the other.
Well, is Ireland? Wait.
I think Ireland's part of NATO, right?
Okay. If you look at it that way, then in the same country.
They don't fly the white flag.
That's a good point. Point well taken. I stand corrected. I sit corrected.
No, but I get you what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's a neutral field. It
is. And both teams, so the Steelers and the Browns will have to go through the same thing we do, but we can't really say whether it's a home game or an away game fan-wise, fan base. That's not going to happen. So it's a little bit of a disadvantage. In fact, it might be quite a distinct disadvantage for the rest of the teams that don't play overseas because they'll end up at somebody's house more often than we will. Right. That is, if we take advantage of the field advantage or away team advantage, we would end up essentially having 2 neutral games where we have a better chance to win. I think that's safe to say. I really do.
Yeah, well, especially if those games, if we had to go to Pittsburgh and we had to go to Cleveland.
Yep.
And somehow the schedule makers put us there on December 7th and December 28th. That would be a distinct
Tough.
disadvantage.
Now
because we know the
weather is-
Vikings do not play well outside anymore.
It used to be our calling card. It used to be the signature.
Correct.
And you'd have to plan to come in here and bring in your heat warmers and your hand warmers and your insulated underwear and all that stuff. Well, not, and we'd go out there just with football gear on and win. Not so much anymore, kids. Not so much anymore. And I didn't have it any different than the Vikings of today. I had a dome stadium here in Minnesota. It was hard to play in Green Bay. It was tough to play in Chicago. I mean, it was really that's a distinct difference, to the point where we'd have to go into the indoor field over at Old Winter Park. It's hard to say. But Old Winter Park, we'd have to go into the indoor barn and put the doors all the way up and let the cold air come in. Then he had to have it like Green Bay or Chicago. He had to simulate that.
Did it really help you guys? Or was it just something that coach thought, well, I'll do this?
I think it does. Definitely for the receivers. I will say that for a fact, is hanging on to the football. It was so cold. It was sub-zero in that place. He put up those huge doors.
Oh, yeah.
And turned the fans on, those big fans in the back corner.
Yeah.
And would make it gusty. And it was terrible to practice like that. But to be honest, I think it does get the receivers more into the thought of hanging on and focusing on making a catch, because it feels different. That ball feels so different when it comes in, especially if a quarterback's throwing really hard. So yeah, I think it was a big advantage, at least a difference maker, to go in and put the fans on and simulate the weather, and you wouldn't be just so stark from day and night difference of going from a warm, heated practice to Green Bay. That would be an eye opener. And so that's why I think, going back to these 2 away games, is that could be any kind of weather in Dublin or in London, but the fact is, it's a
we
neutral
watched
site.
the British Open, and the guys are sitting there with their bumper chutes open, and the wind howling, and
just that brush, that brown grass, that sagey grass. Yeah, heather. That's it. That's what it was. Yeah. You think a farm boy would know heather, like me?
Well, you did.
So.
She lived at the farm across the road.
Well, yeah. I mean, the farmer's daughter. The farmer's daughter used to say, hey. She wasn't hay, though. She was Heather.
Right.
That was funny. That was pretty funny. It was terrible. Hey, so, that's what we've got to deal with. The NFL is going over to Europe now to sell, because, funny enough, the NFL has made a pretty good, sort of deal out of making money based on football, especially for a nonprofit, which it is.
That's right.
Which it is. So they found a pretty good way to do things.
Yep. Then they
so let's take it overseas.
Yeah.
What is that?
Doing this for fun.
What's that? Spend a little money over here. You got to spend X number of dollars when you're a nonprofit to charity or whatever else. Oh, we got you covered. I think it's only 9%. Thank you very much. Well, so we have what we have. I'm not big on marketing and taking our games that we work so hard to build here with this product and taking them overseas away from our fans, unless you want to jump on a plane and go over. To me, that's kind of against what we were trying to do from day one with George Halas and Lamar Hunt. It just, they didn't see it that way, I don't think. But that's what we got now, so accept the change, right? Just accept the change. Love the fact that your team will get up and play a game for you on Christmas Day.
No.
Love that.
No. There's going to be more people that are... Do you know what the fan base households have got to be like? You're watching the Vikings today? It's Christmas. We have to go to church. We're going over to your mother's house for dinner. We have to go there. And nope, Vikings playing.
I'll be over a little later. Hey, I'll tell you what.
6 o'clock. I got to sit here and watch every play.
Every single play. Grab me a shut up and quit being such a... Hey, don't sass me. And grab me a beer. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I need to start off my football preparation. Damn it. Grab me that beef jerky out of the corner there, kid. Shut up. I'll be over there when I get there. You guys can go over. Now put your little sweater on. Oh, crap the bed.
But here's what I envision the NFL is up to. Is they're going to place franchises in Europe in the very
near
future. And this is all a test.
Yeah.
Like when the Vikings went over there a couple of years ago and they decided not to acclimate themselves. Instead, they just went on the clock and flew in, played the game, and flew
just like
the
they would
out of there.
for a regular away game.
And then they played the next week. They didn't use the bye because they wanted to see how the players react and how much damage you do to a player that affects his performance the following week. And so that they did that one, right? That was a couple of years ago, and they had all these, let's put a probe on this guy and see what happens.
Yeah, put a sensor in his
right.
Yeah.
So
there.
Right. So you got all these scientists following you around, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so they got all that, put that in the computer. Now what I think they're going to do is this next test, the Vikings are the guinea pigs. We're going to send you over there for 2 weeks and see how scrambled your head is by the time you get back over here and see if you can function the rest of the season or if it derails you for the whole year.
There's a lot of truth in
because then what I think they're going to do is they'll put 2, maybe 4 teams in Europe.
Yep.
And you'll go over there like the Vikings and you'll stay and play 2 games.
And come back.
And then come back.
And play the next week.
Right.
And play. They want to get it on a scheduled basis where they know how to make all the adjustments to be able to come back and not miss a beat.
Right.
And come back and play a game and not get off the schedule.
And then for those European teams, I could see them building a complex in the middle of the country, put them in Omaha or something, and that's where their base is for the week. And so they'll set it up, the
Makes
way
sense.
the London Stallions want it, just like their facility in London.
Yep.
It'll be mirrored of that, and you fly into Omaha, practice there all week, play your game, go back to Omaha, hang out there for another week, play your other game, and go home.
Let Warren Buffett put you up overnight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you get to go to a free seminar while you're there.
Yeah. How to make money.
That's what
The NFL will be in there just sitting right there and just
they're
like,
the front row.
Hey, Warren, come over to our place. We'll show you how to make money. Yeah, and that they would. So I think it's mental toughness. It boils down to mental toughness. Going and playing on the road doesn't matter. Like if you don't have your head on straight and you can't get to another place and play a game with enough focus to concentrate on 4 quarters of football and not worry so damn much about where you're playing, a plane ride really can't hurt you that much. Even the long ones. And considering, like when I played with the Patriots, we had to play the LA Raiders at the time. I mean, you're talking literally about as far as you can fly. From Boston to Los Angeles is about as long as you can go. And play a game and play well, which you do because you're just prepared for it. And then the mental toughness is no different than getting ready for a home game, unless you make it that, unless you call it an away game. On the road, now talking overseas, the longer the flight with the pressurized plane and all this other stuff, you can dehydrate real easy. You'll dehydrate more than anything else. So it becomes an adjustment on how you take care of your body and keep your fluids up and not dehydrate. And I think that's the biggest adjustment. And scrap all the other stuff that you're talking yourself into because there is no difference in the way you play overseas, away, or here in the States, away. Yeah, it's all in your head. It's in your doggone head. Physiologically speaking, it's tougher on the body to play overseas and making that long trip. But once you get on the clock, and you won't be able to on the new way of doing things, but we were actually able to go over there and not climatize. It was more of adjusting to their clock and their timetable. So you get over there and hit the ground running on their schedule, on their time. So you land in Tokyo or in Berlin like we did. And you just start, it either is practice, you look at the watch and it's like, it's 3:30 in the afternoon, we're practicing. We're going now on their time, and we had 3-4 days in front of the game that we actually played. And that was an experiment back then to see if you could adjust and play a good game and whatever the case. But they gave us like 3 or 4 days to get used to it. They were just preseason games. They called them the America Cup. Remember that?
Yep.
The America Cup. So we were just introducing this whole notion of the National Football League, American-style football, to Europe or the rest of the world now. We're talking Mexico City. We're talking everywhere now. So this is where it's come. They're saying it's a green light. We're going to start playing these games more often, and then I think you're dead on. They're going to put teams over there It'd be my guess. It'd be London, Barcelona,
Berlin,
Berlin,
for sure.
Berlin.
Berlin really seems to have taken to American football.
Agreed, and probably Mexico City. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, but you want 4 over there, right? So it works out when you
But
bring
don't you
2
want
teams over there.
that worldwide feel?
Mexico City, though, you don't have to make special
accommodations.
Yeah,
for the
you don't have to
adjustments.
take a bye or anything because it's like going from Boston to LA, right? Like you talked about that flight.
Same, yeah.
Boston to Mexico City, pretty much the same difference.
But don't they want that flavor though? Don't they want that worldwide, global?
But I think they want to really, yes. But Mexico City and if you can take over that market, that's a giant city. It's a giant country.
It's a huge city.
Yeah. So sure, plop one in there. But I think you need
overseas
number.
I wouldn't doubt Dublin could be a popular
that's why
place.
They're going there. We're going to see
Dublin, London, Barcelona, Berlin for sure.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Right, and then they'll build the same kind of complex over there that when you fly over, they'll make it look like the TCO Performance Center.
There you go.
Or they'll make it look like the Chiefs or whoever. Right, they'll have it all set up so you show up and
start practice.
Yep, here you go.
Here you go. This is where you're at for a day. Hopefully we can turn this thing around in a day, get used to things. But if you're playing that 1 or 2 overseas, then you would report to that neutral site, I'm guessing, like you're talking about, and just continue to stay over there, have the hotel thing like we do here at TCO with everything right there.
Oh, yeah, they'll build a big dorm.
Oh, yeah.
They'll take the replica of Gage Hall and put it over there because that was so accommodating for you guys over the years.
We customized Gage Hall. We had more paint gun fights inside Gage Hall.
Paint gun fights?
Yeah, they had the fancy paint guns. I mean, automatics, right? Just barrels of paintballs underneath it in a drum like a Tommy gun. And Gary Zimmerman and Randall McDaniel, Loudermilk, and the rest of those guys. That was before I got here. It was the first year I got here. I heard this thing going on downstairs below me. I was on the 3rd floor all by myself. Brand new guy from Cleveland Browns.
They put you on a whole floor by yourself?
Yeah. So it was
Were
Animal
you
House.
Contaminated or something? So they had to make sure you didn't have anything?
They considered me pretty much the bubonic plague, or like I was a leper. So, and they had a lot of things right about that. But those guys painted that entire 2nd floor with paint. They were running around the entire 2nd floor firing paint guns at about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. There's so much commotion. Steve Rollins pulls up outside with his car. Head of security.
Head
of security.
I knew who he was, but I meant for the listeners.
Yep. And so we had layers of security. Like the old coach Tom Moore used to say, I didn't think we were in so much trouble. I didn't think we were in so much danger to have all these layers of security. But Rollins pulls up. He's the head guy. He gets a bullhorn out of the inside of his car and tells everyone to settle down inside. Like, get back to bed. Stop doing what you're doing. What do? They put the guns out the window and fire and just pelt his car with paint. Tons of paint. They paint his car. And he's laughing with the bullhorn. I'm watching this whole thing and hearing the whole thing from one story up. And I got to go down and practice with these guys the next day. It's like the 2nd day of practice for me with the Vikings. And I thought, wow, this is quite a crew. This is quite a crew, man. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I had already played with the Cardinals and I played with the Browns and the Seahawks. I played for the Chiefs before I got here. I'm like, wow, this is a group. They all knew Steve Rollins. I didn't know that they knew Steve Rollins.
Right, you thought it was
dude, they're just going to open up on security now. So they had to paint the whole thing. They had to come out of pocket and paint the entire 2nd floor of Gage Hall. Unbelievable. The mayhem. That was the 1st or 2nd night that I was there, studying my playbook, and then woke up. Went to bed at about 9:30, 10 o'clock, whatever, and was woke up by all this commotion downstairs at about 1 in the morning. They're having at it. Big time. It's like 3 of those guys are on the all 100-year team. 2 or 3 of them are on the John Randall. I don't know if Zimmerman made it, but Randall McDaniel did.
Oh, so Zimmerman's got to be on there, right?
Top 100 team, I don't know. But certainly Randall and John Randall made it, and they were on. John Randall was right in the middle of all that. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
You know where those guys could have got a deal on paint? when they had.
I do.
When they had to redo it.
I do.
It. They could have matched it. Had it matched perfectly to every room instead of, could you see John Randall with a little sample can of paint?
Trying to flick a little bit off into a little bottle, scratching some off the wall.
Right. See if it matches.
Yeah. Well,
these guys could have been out of there like nothing.
Would have been no big deal had they known about Polici Ace Hardware. All 4 stores, they could have run over to any because all the team would have been clustering to the one in Rosemount or Egan. But then there still would have been Farmington and Zumbrota. Someone could have gone to one of those 2 stores and not have to stand in line and match paint. Not only would they have technically been able to match your paint perfectly to repaint Gage Hall, they could have actually found paint, I'm sure, to put back in your gun.
Right.
So
what if
you
they do like loading, like your self-load shotgun shells?
Yeah.
These guys
they're reloading these paintballs, and the guys are so happy. They're getting all their paint and reloads, and they're getting the paint to go in and paint Gage Hall again. They didn't know about it. It wasn't, I'm sure it wasn't something they would have known back then. But Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks. They're there for you when you do things like this. You don't have to wander around. You can find one of the Policis. They've been in business now for 30 years plus, and they could have helped you match your paint. No question about it. And Gage Hall would have been all set for a few more years. Then they would have torn it down anyway, I'm sure. But anyway, that's what happened, and Ace is the place. Tell them the superstar Mike Morris sent you.
Right. I mean, you got to get that done. And the other thing they needed, right, because you got to peel out of Mankato, something you guys did often.
Yeah.
And they had to go to the hardware store because they had to get this painted before Denny found out. And so they needed wheels and to get themselves to the hardware store. And they probably had a lot of gallons of paint.
Gallons.
They had to,
so it probably would
so they needed a truck to haul it there.
The King of Ram would have been the place to go. There's only one King of Ram, and that's the Dodge of Burnsville dealership. They are known as the King of Ram. So you could definitely go down there and get into a new or used Dodge Ram truck or a car, whatever the case, whatever you're looking to do. But in this case, you'd probably need a truck. And they got them all done. The half-ton, three-quarter-ton, one-ton trucks, you name it. They've got the dualies. You can haul a lot of paint with dualies, okay? Get on down there, 35W Cliff Road. Mark or Adam Sabo would be the ones that you'd want to set up talking to because Superstar Mike Morris told you to. And then you could ask for anyone after that, a salesperson, someone in service. They're always there for you after you purchase or trade a vehicle into them. So it's Dodge of Burnsville. Right there in Burnsville, 35W and Cliff Road. Get down there and let them know the Superstar Mike Morris sent you.
Simple.
Just like that. Simple. It's that easy. And I mean, we've had issues where the driving back from Mankato.
That's another whole show.
The
whole show. But all right, to circle back to what we were trying to start on before we digress.
But there's always a tangent, a branch off. We do that all the time. We branch off.
Correct. Well, when you're as learned as you are, I mean, it just happens.
I mean, my God, I'm just an inexhaustible surplus of nonsense.
The international. So, how do you see the Vikings dealing with this? Do you think this is going to be a problem? You got a rookie quarterback that you're throwing into this kind of world. It's only going to be 4 weeks in, so he'll have played 3 games. These are games 4 and 5 on the schedule. Do you think that this is fine? It's fine for Viking fans because we do not lose any road or home games this year. So the Vikings will have their full complement of home games. So that's a bonus. It wipes out 2 potentially bad weather games in Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So that's a bonus. But it could also be something that messes the team for all season.
There's so many different things that can play into that. You could also have bad weather in Dublin or in London. You know how you talked about the British Open. Well, I don't know what time of year these 2 games are being played. I never knew what I haven't found out what the dates.
September 28th, October 4th.
So you could end up with some weather out there too. So either way, but both teams have to put up with it, and neither team will have their home. It could be a Calcutta. You never know. It could be is that what they call them? What do they call it? The Easter?
I don't know. That's what Danny called
we don't care. Yeah, it was a Calcutta. You're right. You're right. What I've been told about Kevin O'Connell is that he's very much into the psychology of of preparation. I mean, all about getting people ready and being positive-minded and dealing with whatever situation is at hand. How do you go about dealing with that and making it positive enough and trying to overcome whatever obstacle that is with positivity? That's what I get from him. I hear that all the time. I'm not down there in the room to know that, but he comes across as a guy that has an incredibly patient coaching method where he just deals with players. You see him talking. If it was any other coach I played for, they would have been so mad. They would have been up screaming in someone's face. This guy is not like that. He is just, and Bud Grant would have just looked at you. And just looked at you and shown the anger. But he's the kind of guy that will maintain that really, really calm aura that he puts out there and walk up to a player and talk to him like just regular talk. And it seems to go away. He has some kind of psychological way of dealing with it because the team has come back from huge deficits to come back and get back into games and win them. So there's an edge there mentally, and I think these games are mental. The ones overseas are all about who is preparing mentally to do this. And I think we have an edge with him because I think he's good at that. And I don't know. Maybe behind closed doors he's a renegade. Maybe he screams at him like Mike Ditka or someone. Who knows what he does? But the fact is that on the sidelines, his body language and the way he looks on camera is that he's always in control. So that's what I get. I think they have an advantage.
Yes.
But Mike Tomlin does too now. Don't get me wrong. A different style completely, but you're up against another coach that is really, really good psychologically with how he deals with his players. So he can counter that. I have no idea who's even, is it our old guy in Cleveland still? God.
Stefanski?
Yeah.
For now.
That's what I think, yeah.
He may be gone by week 5.
You never know. You never know.
Carnage he's got going on there.
That's a tough place to be, man.
But I think a lot of that isn't his doing, though. I think it's the management that has saddled him with these circuses that he has to somehow try and turn into a football team.
Correct. Yeah, I think so, too. It's a dog and pony show for him. And he's trying to turn chicken crap into chicken soup. Well, it's not easy. Not easy to do. But he hung around here for a long time until he got the head coaching position there in Cleveland. So good luck. Good luck, Kevin. We'll see what happens. But that's all the time we've got. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the Starstruck podcast. I'd like to thank Jim Rich, my crack staff, known as Brady, my archivist, Brady, and then myself, Superstar Mike Morris. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Be good.